Have you lost the connection with your higher self? Are you noticing the dis-ease of the outside world? It's time to reconnect with nature and each other and raise our consciousness, vibration, and frequency. Together we can create a world of peace and abundance. It's Spiritual Revolution Radio with your host, Dr. Will Miller.
Hello and welcome to Spiritual Revolution Radio, where my guests and I explore ways of raising global consciousness, vibration, and frequency. You know, today I'm excited to introduce our guest. His name is Mark Hernandez, and Mark is the founder of Pets and Energetics. In May of 2019, he launched the People and Pets Show, a weekly online radio show where he interviews leading figures in energy, medicine, all for people, animals, and places. Mark is an intuitive energy healer and a coach that helps pets and peoples and pet parents with their health and well-being so they are both happier and healthier. Mark has demonstrated his work all across the country, and he's been in frequent guests on radio shows, podcasts, local Chicago TV, in which he discusses intuitive energy healing and does mini readings for live callers. Mark, welcome to the show today.
Hey, Will, thanks for having me. It's great to be with you.
Thanks. Hey, Mark, tell me a little bit about yourself and our viewers a little bit about ourselves and how you got started and why this type of energy medicine practice. You know, a lot of people have asked me before the show, they were excited about someone who also dealt with pets, and it's kind of new to our show. And tell us why this kind of practice.
Yeah, so first of all, how I got started. So my first career, college professor, taught Spanish, Latin American, Latino studies for 20 plus years at the college level and 5 years at private high schools in the US and Asia. And what I noticed when I was teaching at the university, I had some unusual patterns that were repeating in my professional life, things that made no logical sense. So back in 2007, I picked up the phone and called a sibling, doctor of integrative medicine down here in Texas. Told him what was going on. Do you have any suggestions? Yes. He recommended I work with an energy healer out in New Mexico. At the time, I was living and working in Boston. So back in 2007, I worked with this energy healer, 2 1-hour sessions over 2 months. And as I like to say, when nothing had changed in my professional life, that frozen needle on the dial started to wiggle. That got my attention. And also I was a little bit stubborn, thinking we could still willpower my way through this pattern, and it wasn't meant to be. 2009, I picked up the phone again, called my brother, said, hey, I want to learn that energy thing, because we all come into this lifetime with baseline abilities to do the type of work I'm going to be talking about. And I realized I was given extra helpings coming down here that were meant to come online full-blown later in life. So with that conversation, I started training, certifications. That's how I got started with my energy medicine work for people.
That was what year? 2007, you say?
2007, correct.
Yeah. Okay. And how did that evolve into adding the pet aspect into it? You know, you have your radio show, you have your website that we want everyone to go to, but how did that evolve into that?
Yeah, so it was really an organic process. 2011, 2013, I was living and working in Asia, in Taipei, Taiwan, the capital, teaching Spanish at an international school, an American school. And so during the day, I was teaching Spanish, and in the evenings, I was doing a certification program for a program called the Emotion Code. And the last piece of that certification asked that all aspirants work with 25 volunteer clients, and at least 5 had to be pets. So living and working in Taipei, I didn't speak Mandarin then. I still don't. So I was running into some challenges finding some local volunteer clients to work with this crazy Westerner that wanted to do some energy healing. So I was stuck. I hit the wall for 2 months. One fateful Saturday afternoon, local Taiwanese friend called me and said, Mark, you want to go ice skating? I said, ice skating in Taipei? A little crazy, but I said yes. So in the ice skating rink in downtown Taipei, there was also this business called the Catzel, the cat hotel. We see all these cats in the window. I just intuitively knew. I said, oh, I'm going to ring the bell, see what happens. They let us in. Turned out the owner was there. Told her I was doing this certification program. My ask to her was, could you refer me to an English-speaking animal expat shelter in the capital where I could work with the animals? It would help them and help me with my certification. Well, it turned out, she goes, I'm very interested in what you're doing. I have friends that are interested in what you're doing. You know what? I'll book all your sessions. You can do them all here at the Cat Hotel, and I'll be your translator. So I went from completely stuck to working with over 25 animals over 3 weeks at the Cat Hotel in downtown Taipei.
Oh, wow.
So when I was working with all the animals, I said, when I get back to the States and establish my practice, pets will be an integral part of my practice. So that's how I got started with the pets.
That's awesome. So obviously you were there studying the emotion code, the body code. That's Dr. Bradley Nelson's work.
Absolutely.
And a lot of our listeners.
Out of Utah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, actually right here in where I live,
That's
as a matter of
what I
fact.
thought. When I saw St. George, I said, I think that's actually where Dr. Nelson is primarily based.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So a lot of people
Okay.
here and our listeners know his work from his books.
Sure.
Obviously, he has some best-selling
Absolutely.
books out there, and I know you're certified in the emotion code. You're certified in the body code, and we're going to go into a little more detail in that in just a second. But I know you're also certified in advanced ASH work. And I know our listeners may be familiar with the emotion code and the body code, but most of our listeners probably are not familiar with, say, ASH work and the importance of clearing. Can you kind of maybe go into that first, so people maybe understand what that is?
So advanced ASH work, it's an energy healing tool that in a nutshell moves stuck energy. This was a tool created by Rudy Hunter. Rudy Hunter has been doing body work, energy healing for 30 plus years. And he got started because of his own practice. He's originally from Canada, originally a magician and a professional dancer, and had a horrific back accident back in the 80s in Toronto. Anyway, at the time, he didn't have the resources, so he had to venture out into woo-woo land and find some things that would help him with his back. Anyway, speed up the time. So ASH work is a tool that he released in 2016 that teaches practitioners, how to release stuck energy. ASH stands for Activated Spaces Healing. It's a technique which consists, a typical ASH work session is 5 3-minute rounds. In each round, the client is putting a gentle focus, maybe an area like a right shoulder, on the body, in the body, through the body, in a spot, and the practitioner is holding space to move stuck energy. Each round is pretty much done in silence, where the practitioner is putting a focus on an area. So as the client, after 3 minutes, with our eyes closed, we open our eyes again, and we just see where we're at. We start at pain level 10, maybe at a 5, 4, 3, 8. It'll be different for everyone. So that's what ASH work is.
And it's from what I understand of it, and it's a fairly new modality, as you said. It only came out a few years ago, but it's all about clearing the body, and much like the body code and the emotion code, clearing the body of those stuck energies and emotions, right? And moving it out.
And it's a little bit different. Again, there's a time and place for all, modalities, tools. What I find ASH work to be really effective in is people, hey, it happens to me, we all have our monkey minds, but sometimes our conscious mind will interfere in letting things go. So the ASH work is pretty much, like I said, a totally silent process that bypasses the conscious and subconscious mind to really get that stuck energy. I've had some incredible results with the clients that when nothing else would move it, again, emotion code, body code are great tools. They're often my main workhorses.
Right.
And sometimes I just intuitively know to go to the ash work and they'll get them unstuck.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yeah, that's intriguing. So tell us then, we'll go back to kind of your main modalities, your emotion code and the body code. Kind of tell us what a consultation looks like and what someone can expect after that experience, what with you after that consultation and going through the process.
Yeah, so great question. So typically, when clients would like to, let's use a book of emotion code or body code, because body code's even more comprehensive, includes everything of the emotion code and even more stuff. So typically, we cover in one 30-minute session, 1 to 3 major issues on their plate. It can be in the area of, health and wellness, money, finances, age, career, or also relationships, love relationships, work relationships, everything's energy. So what the clients do is they come with their list, in these areas. They rate each issue. 0 means no issue, 10 is issue to the max. And in a typical session with that information, I'll tune into the body. I have their permission, client's permission, see that they're testable, ask for help from above, God, source, creator. I'm very clear. The healing comes from above, God, source, creator. I hold the space. That information, we ask the body, reason for, let's say it's a right shoulder pain. The body will tell me. In the session, the 2 main reasons people have their stuff is, probably a lot of your listeners know from the emotion code, negative trapped emotions. Recently, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. All that can be identified and released like that.
Sure.
The second big category is toxicity. Cell phone radiation, Wi-Fi, medications, vaccinations, everything's energy. If that's a piece locking in place people's stuff, the body will let me know, we release it. So I keep on going, releasing stuff until the body will say either we're completely done with the issue or done for today. So if it was a right shoulder pain, it was one of the main foci for the session, I'll say, okay, give it a gentle test. You had level 10 pain. Where are you now? Okay, after 15 minutes, oh, I'm a 6, 5. I've had people in 10 minutes go from a 10 to a 2. So everything's possible. And those are some of the results that are possible. Each person will have his or her own experience.
Yeah, and sure. And some, it may happen, 2 days after they've left your office.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely. Everyone will unwind and on his or her own perfect time.
So I'm going to kind of get into the pet side of it a little bit. I mean, there's probably common reasons people kind of seek you out. But tell me, obviously they're seeking you out for themselves and their pets. So kind of give me an idea of your practice. Is it kind of 50-50? Is it mostly people? How does it tie in the pet side for me so our listeners understand?
So it's pretty much 50-50. 50% pets, 50% people. What I find, especially kind of coincides with the onset of COVID. Actually, I get a lot of calls about people's pets. I work in 2 main areas with pets. Area 1 is behavior issues. Typically a dog or cat peeing and pooping in the household, separation anxiety, excessive barking, bullying among the animals. And then area 2 is they've taken the pet to the vet. That's always your first stop. You have any concern about the health and well-being of your pet is your vet, okay? So they've visited the vet finds something going on. I provide energetic support. So so often lately, people will call me about their pets displaying some, like I said, typically a behavior issue.
Right.
And what I tell people is, pets can definitely have their own life issues. They're sentient beings. They have their own journeys of their souls. So they can have their own life issues. And it's very common that pets absorb the energies of a household. So if there's some workplace stress, some fighting, anything, the pets will often take on those energies and get out of whack. And let me add, occasionally, sometimes it's actually pretty common last 9 months for the pets to serve as pointers. So they let me know that before they can get better with their issue, whatever they're getting through, they need their pet parent or a human in the household to do some healing. So frequently in a quote unquote pet session, sometimes up to 30%, sometimes 50% of a session is doing mini healings on the human. Your pets love you so much, they will often take on your energies and get out of whack. So that's kind of how I work with the pets and the people in a pet session.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. I've had many pets in my lifetime, and
Yeah.
I'm a dog lover. So,
Yeah.
and my dogs are my companions. That's the way I've always looked at them.
Absolutely.
That's my companion. So it would make sense that a lot of what I'm feeling would obviously go to the pet. If I'm sad, or in fact, I was
Mhm.
talking to a friend of mine today who said, and they're moving, and their
Mhm.
pet is very sad right now.
Yeah.
They were talking about maybe calling in on the show later or something, or getting on Facebook and just asking about
Sure.
their pets' issues right now, right? Um, and do you find that's a common equation that people are coming in, and really their pet is mirroring, if you will, their
Mhm.
issues?
Yeah. I mean, a little bit of an outline case. I was working with a cat, and the cat had already been to the vet having some significant health issues. Okay. So not doing well. And actually, in the session for the cat, actually, in that session, about 90% of my time was doing helping the human. The cat loved him so much that, was taking on the energies.
Right.
Um, but
Is that a
I'm sorry, can you
common
repeat your
occurrence?
question? I lost my train of thought. I'm
I
sorry.
was just going to say, is that a common occurrence? Is that what
That's a
happens
little bit
most
on
of
the
the time, or is that
extreme. The 90% is a little bit on the extreme, but I've seen it. Um, but it's very common. Like I said, pretty much over the last 9 months, typically 30% of my pet sessions are doing healings on the humans. Yeah, the
okay?
animals feel sad. I was just talking to a colleague that works with expats, moving abroad. She was telling me that a lot of her clients, if they're considering moving abroad, talk about their pets, that they're concerned, especially even before COVID, it's a little bit complicated to ship a pet overseas.
Right.
But now probably the quarantine time is even longer than before all the COVID stuff.
Hmm. So obviously, you've had hundreds of consultations with people over the years. What is it? Why do you believe pets have behavior issues? I mean, I know I talk to a lot of. I have two camps that I talk to. I have the
Yeah.
camp where they're just like they're an animal. They don't have the same behavior issues we have. And the other camp is no, they're little humans. They're little humans, and they have all the same behavior issues as us. So kind of tell me, what's your belief on that, and where do you land on in that arena?
Yeah. So as I said, each animal is unique. Each pet is on its own soul journey. So uh, two pets may have the pooping issue in the house for completely different reasons. Um, Typically, what I see most of the time is, again, the people that consult with me, they've already been to their veterinarian. So if it's like the peeing and pooping issue, I always say, get your pet checked out, make sure there's no rapid infection, nothing going on at that level. Rule that out. 90% of the time, it's nothing quote unquote physical. It's typically they've taken on the energies of the household.
Hmm.
Now, sometimes more in issues with like pet bullying. I see that with cats. Recently, I was working with a client that she introduced a street cat into her house, and that cat kind of took over. There were two other cats there, and very sweet with the youngest cat, very kind of motherly, and then was bullying the other one. And that was in that case. I see often if animals are acting aggressive, they either have one of two main things: toxicity from typically the conventional pet food, store brand pet food that has a lot of additive and chemicals, or
Hmm.
vaccinations. And this cat was, lived on the streets for many years, so it was a little bit rough and tumble and had a lot of trauma. So that's what I saw with this case. So I guess go back to your original question. Each case is unique, so there's really not one set of answers. There's always multiple factors.
So, and I know a little bit about. I've read the books, and I've even used and done some studying of the emotion code and the body code, and kind of tell me how that works with a pet. I mean, I understand how it works with, because you can use ways of with a person of finding out, if those things are through muscle testing and whatnot. But how do you do that with an animal? I'm a little curious.
Yeah.
So.
Well, first thing, just as with the person, I always need to get the permission of the animal to work with.
Okay.
Okay. And over 10 years, I think I have a track record of like 99.7% getting a yes. Occasionally, there will be an outlying animal. One time about 6 years ago was my sister's dog that didn't want me to work with her. So I honored and respected that. Game over. There was also, I remember, because these were few and far between, but a cat that was bullying the other cat. Someone called into my show, say, "Hey, my cat's bullying. Can you help?" And I got a clear no. The cat said, "I'm enjoying this." So I had to let it be. Anyway, so I get the animal's permission. As many of your listeners know, animals, people, places are really pure energy. So with the permission of their soul, I can connect with their energy field and see what's going on through intention. That's how powerful our intentions are. Connect with God, Source, Creator. I'm allowed to see quite a bit of the energy field, what's going on, this timeline, and often multiple timelines, and just release it. And so at the end of a session, how do you know a pet's better? Usually what I find is pets aren't invested in their stories like humans, so they tend to clear faster. The exception would be an animal that's gone through a lot of trauma and abuse, often a rescue pet. That's usually the changes show up over a period of time. And what you often see with the pet at the end of a session, maybe they just stretch a little bit. You look at the countenance, they're a little bit more relaxed, do a snap assessment, and then allow the pet parent to, continue to observe the pet next couple of days, and they'll often change very quickly.
That's amazing. So you don't do muscle testing with the pets, or do you?
Energetic testing. I just connect. So
okay. So you just connect energetically. You're using your empathic abilities and those kinds of things.
Yeah, my intuitive gifts connected to God, Source, Creator, and so I do 100% of my consultations remotely by phone or video, so I can work with clients wherever they may be.
And I was just going to ask that. So we're getting close to time here, but kind of just let us know. And I thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure learning about this. This is kind of new for me on the people and pet side. But tell our listeners how they can find you, how they can book for a consultation, and how they get a hold of you so they can get help.
Yeah, sure. So best place to go is my website. If you go to your favorite search engine and enter in people and pets, plural, energetics, ENERGETICS, it'll take you to my website, peopleandpetsenergetics.com. There you can book a consultation. And depending on when you see this, there is a promotional going on right now. So if you hit it on time, you can even join that. If you get called, you can book a session there and just learn more about my work and how I help people and pets. And also you can check out my Facebook page. My business page is People and Pets Energetics.
Well, excellent. Thank you again so much for being on the show today. It's been a real pleasure, actually. So thank you very much. And you know what? Knowledge is power. And knowledge and learning these things is what frees our mind from our current conditioning, our current little downslide, if you will, in the world and of consciousness. And thank you again for being on Spiritual Revolution Radio. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
To comment or ask questions, please contact us at spiritualrevolutionradio.com. Love and peace, everyone.
This has been Spiritual Revolution Radio with Dr. Will Miller. For more information or to be a guest, please visit lifebydesign.institute. Join us next week for another edition of Spiritual Revolution Radio with your host, Dr. Will Miller. This has been a production from a podcast studio.